Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our traditional weekly story beat 'em up session between myself, Paul Moderman, and Yelena Perfilieva. Um, this is the time where we kind of discuss what we're thinking of writing about in our next issue, and we chat and have fun, and see what's going on, and take some different perspectives and approaches. And it's just a good time. I'm just glad we do this, Yelena. It's fun, I think.
Awesome. And I'm gonna sip my giant cup of Nespresso cappuccino, and we were totally open to sponsorship opportunities from Nespresso especially.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just
Awesome.
take a drink of my Mountain Dew real quick. Yeah.
Sweet, sweet. Product placement galore. All right.
Uh,
So
so let me share my screen. I'll talk about my bits
awesome.
first here.
Let's go.
Uh, there's this. Sure. Hopefully you guys can see that. So okay, so um, one of the things I'm thinking of writing about is this startup about the idea here is the headline is Directus wants to democratize data across the enterprise. There's a couple, even just in the title, there's a couple of key words that
Hmm.
like trip my triggers here a little bit. And not necessarily bad or good, but like democratizing things is a phrase that I've heard like all over the place for what feels like decades and decades now. Democratizing app data,
Yeah,
democratizing this and that, whatever.
yeah, that's
And
what it.
I feel like it's one of those things where like maybe occasionally incremental progress gets made, but it gets swallowed up by like the industry changing fast enough for it to not matter, right? So what this place is, um, they have a tool that lets you take. Let's see, I think there's a graphic here that lets you take your a lot of your sort of existing databases and then create custom, nice, clean REST, GraphQL, and other SDK integration pieces for those databases sort of automatically. So it's using low code tools to generate APIs against your existing data storage places, which as a developer sounds really cool and really useful. Again, I don't know how much that means in real life because um, it's always hard because you think if you just like the temptation is to think, hey, the door is open. I've got an API endpoint for you. There you go. The world is your oyster now. But it's never that simple for the people who want to use that data from that API endpoint or from that other place, right? So in other words, if you have some really cool Postgres database full of like,
Yeah, I have a
full of
bunch of
links
them sitting around.
full of your favorite like links to memes, right? Um,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, Paul, don't worry about it. I'll create a really cool REST endpoint for you to use. And like what never seems to work out is that like by the time that happens, I, as the consumer of that, always have some weird question that goes deeper than just, oh, here's the API, there you go, right?
Mhm.
So I'm curious and hopeful, but I think it's kind of a well, we'll see what this turns out to be when it's a real thing. But I like that people keep trying to tackle this idea because we all know that enterprises have just gobs and gobs of databases sitting around with data that people
Yeah.
probably need in some way. So there's got to be better ways to do it. Um, there's just we'll see what it turns out. Yeah, I don't know. I just have thoughts about democratizing things, I think. So that's one. Um, I noticed a story pop up in solutionsreview.com,
Mm.
which I am not sure about the. I think I've used this magazine once or twice, and I don't know whether I really think it's like New York Times quality stuff. I don't know,
Mm.
but but the headline grabs me because it's talking about this. We always see and always hear about the pendulum swinging between, hey, do we custom develop things or do we buy off the shelf? Do we custom develop? Do we buy off the shelf? And this is kind of diving into some of those questions, and I think we're in the middle of a phase right now in the universe where off the shelf and maybe some low code are kind of ruling the roost at the moment, but I'm not sure. But I think so. So I kind of want to just poke that a little bit more and see what this guy has to say, especially about this like high dev salaries rumor out there. Like, if anybody knows more about this rumor, please let me know. I would love to make
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
these
Where
high
are
dev
they?
salaries.
Like, how do we get in on this?
Yeah, just bring me up here. But that cost of those salaries versus the buying and maintaining off the shelf stuff or SaaS stuff is a question that's always out there, and
Mm.
always curious to keep poking at myself. So we'll see what they have to say, and I'll see if I agree or not. I don't know if I agree yet. What he has to say.
I think it's kind of similar twist on maybe previous conversations, like when offshore came about some time ago, and yeah, it's constant. I have there is kind of that impression that developers are overpaid somehow.
Yeah,
That's where all this usually coming from. I don't know.
yeah,
And that's again have much to do with that IT is treated as a cost center typically.
yeah.
See.
I would love for somebody to just come in and overpay me, please.
Yeah,
Please, please
definitely.
overpay me. Please make me feel redundant or whatever by overpaying me. My DMs are open.
Yeah.
um, and then finally, I don't know if you saw this. Elon Musk
Oh
is
my God.
ending the work from home forever policy.
I mean, that guy is a joke.
That
Jeez.
guy is certainly doing some things
Oh my
to
goodness.
one of our favorite content
Yeah.
platforms.
Jeez.
Um, so it's one of those things where, like, I think to me, at least this particular story isn't so much Elon Musk. I mean, of course that's part of it, but to me the angle here is what's the like how is work from home forever, hybrid, all that, how is that shaking out these days, right? How is that going along? Because it's like that's like continues to evolve here and there for all places, and we all know that there's like I think there is kind of an attitude in some circles, in some layers of management, that like working from home all the time is like the worst thing in the world, and
Mm,
there's a different attitude at some other layers of non-management of like I will refuse to work anywhere that doesn't let me work from home all the time.
mm.
And I mean I can see a little bit of either side maybe, but like I honestly kind of side with the 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 non-management people a little bit. Like, let me work from home if you don't need me to like put a box on a truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just that's my kind of thought these days.
So,
But yeah. Anyway.
so there was a super funny tweet, and I retweeted it. But later I saw that original was deleted, so that was a bummer. I don't know if you caught it or not, but I think it was might have been TikTok video. There was a short video, and there was the person talking about how offices are actually religious buildings, and it's like,
Oh
yeah, and it's like some people think that offices has something to do with productivity, but that's like big misconception. And offices are
yeah,
actually places kind of religious buildings where your deity is a company,
yeah,
and like C-suite, they're like high priests.
yeah,
They kind of waddle around the office but don't really do much. And then there are managers who are there kind of under them, and then managers don't know how to actually do actual work, but they somehow oversee, actual laborers and
yeah.
workers that are kind of that was just super funny, and
I did
it
see
was
that.
it was so to the point, and
Yeah,
I think it just drives the nail right through this whole idea that work from
yeah,
home is somehow unproductive. And I
yeah,
totally agree with that. It's all of the people who are against work from home. They're managers who, first of all, have their separate office typically in the
yeah,
office,
yeah,
and those who typically even decide when to actually show up and when not,
yeah,
while they expect everyone else to show up every day. So it's such a absolutely, I think it's a
yeah.
should be some kind of worker rebellion item, honestly, just to, yeah,
Yeah.
to put an end to those conversations that work from home needs to end. Yeah,
Yeah, no way. I said like work from home needs to stay. Work from
exactly.
home
Stay
needs to like
forever. Yeah,
stay forever. Work from home forever should apply in
exactly.
as many
As
places
an
as it possibly
option.
can. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
So there's one more that doesn't have a story. I'm going to Tech Ed next week. Um, and I'm sort of reserving a spot in my head for like I want to watch one or two of the keynotes and see if anything interesting pops up there because I think there'll be one keynote on Tuesday before we run the issue. And if
Yeah.
anything interesting pops up there, I might replace that with or I might replace one of these with that thing there.
Mm.
But we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a hunch. I have a hunch there'll be at least one interesting thing. I mean, I think SAP has heard enough of the critique that tech ed is not interesting anymore. I think they're planning on at least one or two interesting things to happen in some way or to be announced. So I'm
Mm.
hopeful, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they always announce. I mean, whether it's interesting or not, that's a different
I mean
story. But yeah.
that could be the story too. SAP makes announcements and they are not interesting.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I'm curious about the keynote. I
Yeah.
reserved the spot on my calendar, and I'm wondering how many questions about ABAP Dev Edition will be asked if they open that chat.
Yeah.
Sometimes they open like Q&A or chat or something during the keynote. I would be curious what happens there, or maybe SAP preemptively just gonna close it. I don't know, which would be
Yeah.
also interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, all
Anyway,
right,
so
so yeah.
those are my thoughts.
Awesome. All
I
right,
invite
so
you
let
to
me
share your own.
share mine. Sweet. Gonna share my stuff. So I have several stories. One of them, I started writing quite a bit about kind of thoughts on development lately, and I want to continue um, for a while on that. So I saw this tweet. It came through a retweet from someone else, but this video essentially is asking whether developers are viewed as a waiters or as the doctors. And the difference is obviously that doctors are there for their expertise, and you're asking them, like, okay, I have an issue, so you need to find solution somehow. But waiter, you're just ordering exactly what you want them to bring, and they're supposed to bring exactly that, and nothing else, nothing less, nothing more. There are some. I agree with some of his thoughts. Some of them I think they're good thoughts and ideas, but as many people in the comments are too, I feel it's just hits the reality where developers are not the ones who decide what role they play essentially.
Right.
So, but I think yeah, I noted several interesting items that he talks about in this video, and I just want to write about this subject.
You know,
So yeah.
one thing I notice here, totally like completely off the wall, is I love the little icons on the screenshot there.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just a piece of paper that says job
Yeah.
and a magnifying like what is that?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's just funny to me that that's somehow like that's communicative of something there. And there's a
Yeah.
clock with an arrow on it. Like what
Yeah.
does that mean? But anyway,
It's
that's just
about speed of delivery, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So interesting videos there. All right, so my second subject, so I have already mentioned Devtoberfest before, and
me.
I promised I will return to this subject. So this will be Return of the Jedi. For
Nice.
me, I did not really sadly find any particular sessions that I would be like super excited to write about. It's and I'm comparing it mentally to Devtoberfest from the previous year because it also I
Hmm.
think it's a third year or so it's going. And last year, what I liked about it, there were some sessions. There was one, and I've written about them. One was about microservices, another one was about cloud in general. It wasn't about any special product per se, but it was, I think, about cloud development. And I found them very interesting. They were just very well presented, very educational, and at the same time, it took us slightly out of our SAP kind of comfort zone. It was not exactly purely within SAP space. And this is exactly what I'm totally missing from this Devtoberfest event, because I literally went through all those sessions, not like listening to them in full, but getting some impressions what they're about, and it's all just very focused on SAP products. There are only two sessions. One of them is from a designer from SAP AppGyver team, which talks about how to make like nice web applications in general, like some general good practices about like React containers and stuff. And the other one that I found interesting and rather engaging was the one about containers, so basics of containerization.
Oh yeah.
That was the one, it was also a short one, but it was the only one which really um, told me about something new and something that's not an SAP BTP service. Because unfortunately, all of them, absolutely all other sessions are like, SAP BTP, like SAP AppGyver, SAP this, SAP that.
Yeah.
And I totally appreciate that obviously it's run by SAP and there are so many sessions, but really between all this, 3 pages of sessions, really, could you not have found some time to talk about something else, maybe for a bit,
Mm,
something new? And that was always my agenda for TechEd. Like you're going next week
yeah.
in person, and I will be watching the hybrid event here, virtually. When we had those big events in person, my agenda always included something that I can do now, maybe
Mm,
something that's talking about actual practical stuff, then something that I can do in future, maybe like new release, new ABAP syntax, that we have not upgraded yet too.
right. Right.
But I always included something that I called like cutting edge, which would be
Yeah.
like totally whack, like nothing to do at all whatsoever with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, it's not like I'm doing a lot. I'm actually not doing anything with data analytics or Kubernetes or cloud, but I don't know. I just looked at that and I don't really see anything to be excited about and to educate myself. So it was a bit of a downer. This Devtoberfest, it's more
It's.
like there is no fest in Devtoberfest.
I mean,
There,
there's. It's kind of. I mean, y- I think it's. I think it's kind of there. There is a. I. I don't know how to put this. A lot of the SAP developers that I know, not all of them, but a lot of them, are kind of in this place where SAP is a large enough, but also closed off and weird
yeah,
enough
yeah,
ecosystem that like you can have an entire career and really not be conversant in anything but like weirdo SAP stuff.
mm,
But that is changing now,
mm,
right? Because of what BTP and just cloud versions of whatever are changing all that stuff. And I think there are a couple of like little drips and drabs of sort of this Devtoberfest kind of stuff, kind of acknowledging that. But I think if you look at the ecosystem overall in terms of the developers, we probably need more of that stuff, right? More of
yeah,
that, like, here's a weirdo thing that you've never had to learn because you've been in the SAP. And I mean, that's not a critique of the SAP ecosystem, by the way.
yeah, yeah,
It's really just an acknowledgement of how big and how separate it has
mm-hmm,
traditionally been from the rest of tech. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's just the reality of it. And so as SAP starts to sort of draw in open source and other open standards and things into what it does, you got to open the doors for the people who have been inside that bubble to sort of drink more of the Kool-Aid from outside the bubble
mm,
Kool-Aid. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Anyway, that's so yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah, SAP is a bit like botanical garden in the middle of a forest, if
Yeah,
you will.
yeah,
So something like
it
that, pretty
is.
sizable, but very,
Yeah,
very, very closed up typically.
yeah,
And I was, yeah, I would totally expect content like this from TechEd because that's official event and there are lots of, I don't
yeah.
know, product owners, whatever. But Devtoberfest was a bit of a just slightly, very slightly disappointing. I know many
Mm,
people probably got a lot of value from these sessions because we also
mm.
need to do practical stuff. But to me, it could have taken it to another level, just like it did last year. Because last year I found it was very good. All right, so that's about it. So I will probably try to just summarize, do very quick kind of overview of my impression of Devtober and highlight maybe a couple of sessions from there. And my third subjects, funny enough, it actually came from my um, attempt to kind of get a better impression of those Devtoberfest sessions, because I'm looking at them. There is no way for anyone to even like browse through all of this in any intelligent way. There are so many sessions, and
Hmm.
each one of them is 1 hour long. So
Hmm.
it's a lot of content. There are like 30 sessions, I think. So I thought, well, there's like AI summarization tools. I know we have written about AI summarization for the text, and I think we covered some maybe that had to do with videos, but I'm like, well, is there maybe some tools that can take like YouTube video and tell me in few words what this video is about? So that's where I kind of went on to random Google search for AI video summarization tools.
Mm,
And I uncovered some interesting places there, which I just want to, since I found them, I want to write about them.
nice.
So this one is just an article about it doesn't advertise, it doesn't show any specific tools, but it actually talks about the technology itself, how
Mm,
AI kind of works to summarize how-to videos. And I think it's very interesting. It wasn't very helpful to me, but I think it's the whole like complexity behind here. This is very well explained, so I think it would be interesting.
mhm.
Then tool-wise, I found several. This one, Jasper, was noted as the most popular, but unfortunately, I couldn't try it because when you do this try for free, it's supposed to have free trial. But no matter what I did, it was asking me for credit card information and wanted to take quite a big amount of money for me, just and wasn't actually showing like you're getting free trial option. So I kind of noped out of it without looking at it. I don't know if
Why?
any.
I don't understand why.
I
Like,
have no
it
idea.
says
Like
free.
I can
That's
okay. I
so
can
weird.
yeah. I can literally go here. So let me see. It does
I mean, I'm not.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't even want to work anymore.
it's like no, you can't
Claim.
try it
Yeah. All
free.
right. So if I try here, yeah, I don't know. It just seems to be completely broken right now. So yeah, someone needs some
Eh.
AI, I think there.
Anyway, that's
So
weird.
to
like,
fix their AI, yeah.
let me
But
try it
yeah,
free.
yeah, try for free, like, yeah. See you later, alligator. All right, so yeah, Jasper didn't work out. I don't know if any people from Jasper are watching, you really
Oh,
need to fix
oh,
your stuff.
Yelena, I
Yeah,
got it.
you got it?
Just as you made reference to Return of the Jedi earlier, I think we can call on Yoda to say, "Do or do not. There is no try here.
Yeah,
There is
yeah,
no try."
yeah. There you go. So you sit on the throne of lies. All right, but then the tool that actually does have free trial and that totally worked for me. Let me see if I can even show you something here. Hopefully, should log me in after some
Did you
time.
put one
So,
of
so
Did you put
this
one of
is
our videos in there?
yes,
Did
that
you?
is that is
Oh,
that is that is what I did.
hey, that's
So
awesome.
the tool is called Pictory. And at first, to be honest, it was a bit of a learning curve. I was very confused because on their first page, they are claiming exactly what I wanted. Like we can take a video and we can summarize it for you. But when you look at these dashboards, like script to video, article to video, edit video, visuals, and like where is like the opposite? Where is like my video to text essentially?
Yeah.
But then I realized that it's hiding under here, and you can you're kind of going into strangely like video editing for some reason, and this is where it can give you what they're calling highlights. And let me see, I actually
Oh, okay.
set up project here. You see test video. I think this is the one. Let me try this one. So it is a little bit clunky, I think. You open this. So it takes a while to load the video, and I tried two ways. So I obviously have files with our videos, with our recording. So I had a file, but I also was able to use it with just, I think, just a YouTube as well.
Hmm.
So what it does, you can see there are some options here, for example, like typical video editing tools for some reason, even
Hmm.
though I wouldn't really use it for that, but it's funny, it can remove filler words. You can see
Oh, the
it
ums.
did
Yeah.
transcript, yeah, here. So yeah, I do that like ums a lot, like all the time. And if you just do remove filler, boom, like arms are gone. So that is pretty sweet. And there is option to actually delete from video. I haven't tried any actual editing. And now that I'm looking at it, sometimes I see videos of others, and we do not typically edit our videos. We only do
Yeah.
like, yeah, trimming from beginning and the end. And sometimes I might delete maybe piece where we just kind of rambled for too long about some
Yeah.
subject. But otherwise, yeah, full transparency, there is no editing of our videos because we ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Yeah. I know. That's the.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but I have seen videos of others where it's similar conversation, but people go like and it just looks very weird. But now I'm sensing maybe that's what they're using. Maybe they're like,
Yeah.
oh, remove fillers, remove like empty like
Remove
yeah,
silences. Yeah.
silences. But
Yeah.
yeah, don't maybe maybe don't do that, people, because that's just honestly freaking me out. I know it makes video shorter, but it looks very weird in my opinion. But I mean, who am I to judge? So and it can do what is called auto highlight. I haven't quite figured out what those percentages mean, but let me just try this one for giggles. And it is
Creating
pretty
highlights.
slow. So everything it does, it is very, very slow. But I think what it does in those highlights, I believe that it basically just takes this transcript and it just plucks out kind of random um, pieces out of it. So I'm guessing this percentage maybe is driving how frequently it plucks out those pieces. But I couldn't really figure out if there is actual analysis going on, because I wouldn't say this tool is super intelligent. It doesn't look this way to me. It doesn't seem to analyze what is being said. It basically just takes like transcript and
Mm,
here is like at minute 7 you said that, and there you go, there is a highlight. And then
mm.
after another minute you said that, so there's another high. So I don't know, I wasn't like super impressed, but I thought, well, first of all, it's a free trial that works, and
Right.
it does something that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I think it's props to Pictory for actually working. That's, yeah, I think, and I want to try generate highlights video. I think that will be
Yeah.
just peculiar. So
I
I will
totally want
spend
to try
some
this.
time, yeah, some time playing with it. It's very, very, very interesting.
Man, I wish
Yep.
they were like sponsoring us because this would be a good commercial.
Yeah, yeah, honestly. All right, so we have what, like Mountain Dew and an
Yeah.
espresso. Victory, please reach out to us. And Jasper,
Just
don't bother
drowning in
off with you.
sponsors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
routing sponsor. So yeah, so these are my subject for the next issue.
Well, there we go. So that's yeah, listeners and viewers, that's a wrap on our discussion. Stay tuned for next Wednesday morning-ish, depending on where you are in the world, I suppose, to find out what we wrote about this stuff. But until then, we'll see you guys later.
Sweet. See you later.